In the year 120, an entire Roman legion marched into the dark and never came back. 5,000 men, no battlefield, no bodies, not one survivor. Rome searched for years and found nothing, and historians have argued about it ever since. They're all wrong. The 9th Legion didn't die that night. It fell out of the world, into a place with no sky, no doors, and no end. Miles of empty yellow rooms, under lights that never go out. And you were marching in the 4th rank when it happened. This is what really happened to the 9th, and why, out of 5,000 men, you were the only one who ever walked out. It started as a night raid. Tribal army had been burning outposts along the frontier, and your commander wanted to hit their camp before sunrise. 5,000 men moving through a black forest in silence, no torches near the front ranks, every man holding the belt of the man ahead. You'd done night marches before. You hated every one of them. But the 9th was the 9th. The shield stayed up, the line stayed tight, and nobody spoke. Somewhere ahead, scouts whistled the all clear. Then the forest went quiet. Not sleeping, quiet, empty quiet. The owls stopped. The wind stopped. And the oldest men in the column, the ones who'd survived ambushes before, reached for their swords without being told. And then the ground stopped being ground. There was no pit, no snare, no splintering wood. The forest floor simply let go of the entire column at once, like the earth had opened its hand. You remembered falling. You didn't remember landing. You woke up on a floor that didn't exist anywhere in the Empire. Soft, damp, carpet. Thousands of miles of it, the color of old straw. Under a low ceiling of humming lights that burned with no flame, and a maze of empty rooms with plain yellow walls. And all around you, and room after room after room, the 9th Legion was getting to its feet. Your commander did exactly what Rome trained him to do. He looked at a place with no doors to the outside, no sky, no night, no morning, and he called it an ambush, enemy sorcery, a trap. So the horn sounded, and 5,000 men did the most Roman thing imaginable. They formed a square. Shields locked, javelins out, 4 walls of iron facing 4 hallways of yellow, and they waited for the enemy to come. Nothing came. An hour passed, then 2, then 4, no footsteps, no war cries. Just that sound. The endless, flat buzzing of the lights overhead, drilling into your skull until men started rubbing their temples like their heads were splitting. Bravest army on earth stood in perfect formation, ready to die fighting, in an empty room. While the square held, the engineers did what engineers do. They pried up the wet carpet and found no earth underneath, just more floor, hard as temple stone, that no pick could scratch. They lifted a man above the humming lights, into a crawl space choked with dust where no torch would stay lit. There was no under. There was no over. There was only more. That was the first thing this place took from the 9th, the enemy. You can't hold a shield wall against nothing. So the commander sent scouts, because that's the next thing Rome trained you to do. 10 men, in pairs, marking the walls with charcoal as they went, ordered to walk a straight line and report back. First pair walked straight for 1,000 paces, turned around, and followed their own march home, into a set of rooms none of them had ever seen. Their marks were there. The rooms were not the same rooms. That's the part nobody tells you about this place. It doesn't chase you. It just quietly rearranges itself behind your back, the moment you stop looking. Scouts found other things too. Small altars of metal and thin rope bolted low on the walls, humming like insects. No legionary alive could know he was looking at wires and power outlets, 18 centuries early. One scout swore the hallways were breathing. Another kept hearing whispering behind a wall with nothing behind it. And by the second night. If night is even a word in a place with no sun, some of the men had settled on an answer. They were dead. All of them, killed in the fall, and this endless yellow nothing was the underworld. To this day, the people trapped in this place still argue that exact theory. Your legion just got there first, and the water was running out. That was the real enemy, not a monster, arithmetic. 5,000 men, 1 day of water each, and a maze with no wells, no rain, no rivers. Here's the part that should scare you. Almost 2,000 years later, a research company in California would open a doorway into this exact place, on purpose. They called it the Complex. Their machines touched it in 1989, and they sent men in sealed suits through a doorway they called the Threshold. Their reports listed the same 2 discoveries your legion was about to make the hard way. Time doesn't pass right in here, and the walls are not always walls. Second day, the 9th started shrinking. Not in battle. The 9th would have won a battle. Men just stopped being there. A water party of 6 went into the dark rooms where the lights had died, and came back as 5, and the 5 couldn't say when they'd lost him. Sentry on the far corner of the square was found staring into an unlit doorway, shield on the floor, whispering to it. When they pulled him back, he laughed. He didn't stop laughing. And then you lost the man whose belt you'd held in the forest. He went out with the 3rd water party and never came back. No sound, no struggle, no body. Just his shield, standing upright in an empty room, exactly where a man should have been. and in the dark rooms, some men began to see them. 2 rows of glowing white teeth hanging in the black where a face should be, smiling, always at exactly the height of a man. The centurions did what centurions do. Tighter ranks, stricter watches. Count the men, count them again. But the counts kept coming back short, and here's what broke the formation for good. One of the walls moved. A veteran of 20 years put his hand on a yellow wall to rest, and the wall was warm, and it shifted under his palm like a shoulder turning over in sleep. He screamed. 5,000 of the most disciplined soldiers in history had held their square for 2 days against hunger, thirst, and silence. They could not hold it against the hallway that was alive. The square came apart, and the maze, patiently, took the 9th Legion 1 room at a time. You ran, not bravely, honestly. You ran with 3 other men through rooms that repeated and looped and lied, chased by nothing you could see, past charcoal marks you'd never made, until the lights above you started dying one by one like torches in wind. Somewhere behind you, you could hear the last of the 9th, horn calls echoing through the maze, further and further apart, each one answered by fewer voices. And then you saw it, a room that was different. 1 room, and all those thousands, with a single dim lamp instead of the burning white lines, a low, warm, orange light like sunset through cloth. The buzzing stopped at its doorway. The air went quiet and soft, and for the first time in 2 days, your headache let go. Every instinct the Legion gave you said never enter a room that wants you to enter it. You went in anyway. Because behind you, one of the 3 men had just stopped screaming, mid-scream. You sat against the worn wall of that little orange room. You heard something whispering gently behind it, and you were too tired to care. Your eyes closed. And the room, very quietly, let you go. You woke up under trees. Real trees. Real cold. Real morning. The same forest the 9th had marched into. You could have wept. You walked half a day to the marching camp to report what happened to the Legion. The camp wasn't there. Not destroyed. Gone. Grown over. A field of moss and birch where a fortress of 5,000 men had stood. The trees you'd marched past the saplings stood 40 feet tall. You found a road where no road had been, and traders on it wearing fashions you didn't know, speaking of an emperor you'd never heard of. You did the arithmetic from that emperor's name, and the arithmetic said 40 years. 2 days inside, 40 years outside. That was the last thing the maze took from you. Let you out? It just didn't let you out into your own lifetime. Rome wrote the 9th Legion down as lost, and argued about it for 2,000 years. You knew the truth, and no one ever believed you. They aren't lost. They're still in there, in the yellow rooms, under the humming lights, still holding formation. And if you think a Roman legion is the strangest thing history ever dropped into a place it couldn't explain, wait until you hear what happened to the man who built a door into it on purpose.